Hey Aquarius, welcome to my channel. It's Elizabeth Mary Tarot, and I wanted to do the April monthly reading for the sign of Aquarius. And I'm going to use my new deck of cards called the Whispers of Love, and yeah, so just activating my cards here with my quartz, and I want to thank all the subscribers, the comments, the likes, the shares. I really do appreciate it. So I know that I haven't posted the readings earlier, but I apologize for that. It's been a busy beginning of April. So I know today is the 12th, but you know, we'll work with for the rest of the month, and all of this is fluid, you know, time, energy. So you know, perhaps this will help resonate with what's been happening the first 12 days of the month and what's going to happen the rest of the month, and also, you know, probably into May as well. So let's just see what we have going. So I hope everybody's doing well. And, you know, I'm an Aquarius as well, so I do understand and can relate to all the ups and downs that the sign of Aquarius has gone on with the last, you know, year or two or more. It seems like we always got something going on. But hoping that, you know, 2019 is going in a good positive direction now, and good things ahead. So let's see what we have for the month of April 2019 for the sign of Aquarius. And these have more of a love you know, touch to them, so you know, it might relate more to a love reading more than a general reading. But you know, everybody always wants to know about love and career, right? Those are the two top things that we need clarity on, because everything else is kind of, you know, easy here in comparison. It's easy to figure out what to eat and what to wear and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But as far as the two big things in life, you know, how we make our money and how we share our love, those are two things that seem to always be on people's minds, because, you know, we're constantly evolving and growing, and so is the other person, and so is our, you know, our interests and our skills, and you know, we're shedding a lot of layers, old layers. You know, there's a lot of people tired right now in the universe, and just an overall tired sense, you know, from the collective. And that's because, you know, we're all, you know, kind of changing and letting go of the old body, the old self. And you know, there's a lot of purging, and purging can be tiring. So, yeah, we got one. That actually makes sense. I'm going to read these once I bring them all out, but that makes sense with what I'm just talking about. So embrace your emotions. Allow your feelings to surface and be accepted. That's what the card says, and we'll get into it in a minute, but I thought that was kind of interesting. So we're getting there. For Aquarius, for the month of April 2019, I'll probably pull like 6 cards, just kind of do like a 6-card spread, something quick that gets you some answers. And, you know, I know everybody's busy, so we don't want to drag these on. Whoop, that one's falling out. Actually, all 2. Okay, perfect. All right. The first one is embrace your emotions. It says, allow your feelings to surface and be accepted. So she's hugging a unicorn, and I think it was just like National Unicorn Day the other day here or wherever in general. So that's kind of interesting. And the unicorn is all things, you know, fantasy, you know, magical, right? It's a little bit of illusionary, but it's embrace your emotions. So allow your feelings to surface and be accepted. And I don't know about any other Aquariuses, but I definitely have had emotional moments, you know, kind of shedding some layers and emotional things that needed to come up and be addressed and kind of acknowledged, move on from. So allow your feelings to surface, you know. If you're sad, you know, be in that moment, feel that sadness, and then, you know, process it and move on from it, right? And then go and do something that brings you joy. If you feel joy, really take that emotion and harness that joy. Harness whatever emotions come up, right? Good or bad. And that's going to help, like what I was just talking about, the purging, right? It's going to help you purge and get rid of, you know, that old skin, that old layer, right? We're spring, we're shedding, we're rebirth, we're reborn. There's a lot of that going on, right? So just use that kind of analogy. Honesty is essential. Speak with love and truth. And this card's come up in the past. I don't know if it was for Aquarius, but they got the mask on. He's got his back towards her. mean, she's got her back towards him. So it's about, taking off the mask and really speaking your truth. Maybe there's things that need to be said that's kind of like, within the relationship that's not being said, or there's somebody that needs to say something to you. And so, honesty is really the best policy, as they say. And it's not easy. Like I said, relationships, career, money, things like that are areas that we really all, struggle with and have our ups and downs. And anyway, honesty is essential. So speak from your heart and maybe tell that person how you feel, good or bad, right? So listen with your heart. So you are listening, but you need to hear with a loving heart. So here's the thing. You can speak, but you also have to listen. And perhaps there's something that, has to be said to you, and you might take it the wrong way, or you might not want to hear it. So you need to hear with a loving heart. So be open to what people have to say to you, and know that they are coming from a good place, depending on what it is that is being discussed. So just work with that. A physical touch, a tender touch can mean so much. So this is, whether you are in a relationship or you're not, perhaps if you are, then you can have that physical touch, do that a bit more, show your partner that you really care and that you love them. If you're not in a relationship, perhaps do this on a 5D, level, kind of a telepathic level, that you're, showing that there's physical touch, or not physical touch, but there's touch there on that kind of level, on a telepathic level. And, that's important in a relationship. Actions speak loudly. Express your love through actions. So this could be two things. Like I said, if you are physical touch and you are in a relationship, do some acts of kindness and acts of love. And it doesn't even have to be with just partners. It could be just like in general. Perhaps you need to do some volunteer work, or do something nice for someone else, or do something nice for yourself. But if you are in a relationship, express your love through actions, right? Just small actions can mean more to some people than you know, because you don't, you could be doing something so small, like thinking of them because you got them their favorite, food, or you found something online and you shared it with them and it made their day, just little things. It doesn't really have to be expensive or big. Anything can make somebody happy, right? It just, depending on what their interests are and what their, understanding of what you're doing means to them. So, and the last card is consider your foundation. Look at how committed you are to love. So there's a house, there's a couple. So they're kind of building this foundation, right? They're starting, just kind of look at the big picture here is what this is basically saying. There's some candles in the trees. There's an owl. There's this couple. There's these foxes. There's like all these birds and angels. And there's just this beautiful house. And so this is sort of like you're working towards this, right? You're working towards this union if you're not in union. And to get there, you're just think of the layers and the brick by brick that you're building to get to this. And, eventually you will have this big picture. But, it does take some time to work through, like I said, dissolve some of these layers of stuff that's going on, and just kind of, work through that. So let me pull one of the postcards from heaven, and let me just see what the messages are for the postcards from heaven. And let's go down. All right. Dearest to you, as you think, so will you experience life. Thoughts that are powerful and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as truth. Yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep an inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back. Life is not as hard as you think. And that's so true. I was just talking about this with a friend the other day about how life is not as hard as we think. It was a story about a boy that was dying. And, on his last, breaths, he said to his mom, hey, I don't know, I forget where I saw the story online, but Mom, it's so simple. It's so easy. It's almost like he was seeing what the afterlife was, or somebody was coming to him at that time, and he just realized it was just so easy, right? It's just think positive thoughts, and I shouldn't say that's so easy, but you know what I mean? Like, what he's saying is that we make it a lot harder than it is, because, these dark thoughts, this negativity, this, you know, there's so much coming at us on a daily basis. And at the end of the day, it really is like an energy, right? We're in this energy field. And if you have these fearful thoughts, you're going to have fearful outcomes. And so what he was trying to say is like, you know, just have joy and be happy, you know, and try to like live in that every minute. Is it always going to be like that? No, there are times we get frustrated, but it's trying to being aware that you're in that moment, working through that, and then moving on so that you can have more moments of joy than you do despair, more moments of positivity than you do have fearfulness. And I think that's what he was trying to say, is that we spend too much time, you know, in these fearful thoughts and this worry. And there's days that I have that, you know, that feeling of carpe diem, like we're going to die, you know, so like, let's just do this. Like, or, you know, people are just, you know, there's all these silly rules, these silly society, you know, do's and don'ts. And there's so much stuff. And yes, we have to follow rules and laws and all this stuff. I totally understand that. So that we can at least have some structure so that we're not at all, you know, this craziness going on. But there's some other stuff that's just a little too rigid that people just live by, and they never really just relax and have fun, because there's just so structured in that, and to this other level that's too much for them. And they can't kick back and relax. And then, you know, you might get to the end of your life and have some regrets over that. So, and, you know, I'm not saying that's right or wrong per se, because somebody might not know. You only know based on your awareness of what you're doing. But anyway, I think I'm rambling on there. But you know what I'm saying is that just have fun, live your life, speak your truth, have some connection, human connection, look at the big picture of where you wanted to get to, but live in the moment at the same time, you know, because that joy, it's like Abraham Hicks talks about, being in that vortex, finding that happiness, because that happiness, that energy is going to help, you know, build it even more. But you got to get there through meditating and leaving judgment out of the mix, as it says. Love yourself. Choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back. And that's basically it. Choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back to you. So I hope you found that helpful, Aquarius. I wish you all the best in the month of April. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, my info is in the description box. Thank you. Namaste.